Hi there, guys and gals, my fellow neighbors. How are you doing today? Don't you hate that question? Gosh. When you're first experiencing loss, sometimes that question can be a trigger and just set you off. I know it did for me. I still don't like that question, actually. Ugh. I can't stand it when someone asks me, "Hey, how are you?" It's like, how do you think I am? I just lost my whole world. I'm sure you know what I mean. Maybe you don't feel that way years afterwards, but today I want to talk about that initial loss, like the first few months, or maybe it's the first few days for you. Where to start? Wow. I could probably make like 10 videos alone on the first few days or the first few weeks. So, the first few days, I don't even think there's words to describe the first few days or weeks or even months. You know, that day that is the worst day of your life. It really sticks with you, especially if you see them die. And I did. That is something that you don't ever forget that image in your head. You probably replay that day over and over and over in your mind too. I know I did. When my husband died, I was there. I was in the ICU room with him. And I don't think there's any way to describe how it feels, even if you know it's coming. I didn't really know it was coming. I did, but I didn't. I was praying the whole time, just that he was going to be healed. It's a long story of what happened to my husband, but I guess for now I'll just say he did have cancer, and it was a very aggressive cancer. Like, he only knew for a day, and then he knew for one day, and it shocked him. It shocked all of us. And he went into respiratory distress the next day before he could even start his treatment. And that was it. It's the last time I ever talked to him. And he thought he was going to get well. The doctors gave us that hope that he would get well. So we didn't even have time to say any final words or... Well, we never said goodbye. That was a rule that we had between us the whole time that we were together. we never said goodbye because we never wanted to say goodbye to each other. And in truth, it's never goodbye. It's just, see you soon. That's what we always said. See you soon. And then we would say, I love you. But my husband did not like the word goodbye. And if I accidentally said it, he would let me know. He would get that look like, did you just say the word that we don't say? I can hear him now. Oh, no, we don't say goodbye. Nope. But I was the same way. I don't like that word, and I don't use it. Not very often, anyway. So, but we didn't get to say any last words. We didn't even get to discuss anything. We didn't have time. It was so quick, and it was kind of like he was in a car accident or something. It was just that fast. And I was in shock for a very long time. It seems like I was in shock forever. It really does. It just... You guys probably know what I'm talking about if you lost someone really suddenly, or even if they were sick for a long time. I still don't think you're ever prepared for that moment, even if you know, like, they don't have long left. It's just, it's kind of mind-blowing, that last moment. And I know some of you didn't even get to see your loved one that died. Like, it could have been a car accident or an accident at work or something that you weren't even there. You didn't even get a chance to hold their hand or anything like that. And I'm just so sorry. My husband, he didn't know I was, maybe he knew I was there, but he was unconscious when I was there. So I know they say that they can hear you, even if they're sedated or if they're unconscious, they can still hear you. And I hope he could. I think he could. But it's not the same, you know. It's not the same as them being awake and being able to talk to you. And it's just not the same. I wish I could have been there when he was awake, just to be able to talk to him and tell him I was there and hold his hand. And your mind is just, it's like it's blank. It's like it's stuck. It's hard to think. And that's a good way to describe it. It's like you can't think. So that's what this short video is about. I'm going to try to end around 15 minutes today, so it won't be so long. But I just want to talk about that initial shock. And what do you feel? And if you have not experienced the death of your spouse or someone you love, other people just don't get it. And I'm sure you've noticed that. Like, the only people that really get it are the ones that have been there. And we don't want our friends to understand. If they don't get it, we really don't want them to be able to get it, because it's terrible. And I felt like I was in a nightmare. It doesn't feel real. It feels like you're in this, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like you're in this daze where you're not alive, but you're not dead. And it's not even like real life. You feel like you're in this terrible nightmare and you can't wake up. And you just want to wake up so bad. It's almost like I felt like I was not even alive. Like I'm just a zombie walking through this surreal non-reality that's not even like some kind of purgatory or something, where you're just stuck in between life and death. And I don't believe in purgatory, but that's what it feels like. It's like you're stuck in between not being alive and and being alive, and you don't feel like you're either one. And so it's just, you feel like you're going crazy. I felt like I was losing my mind. Most days I still feel like I'm losing my mind, because you can't think, and you're just, it's hard to pay attention to things. You're on autopilot basically. And it's like your brain is frozen. And I'm wearing the same shirt today that I wore yesterday for a reason. You don't even think about things like changing clothes, or maybe you don't think about eating or showering, or maybe you have a pet that you gotta feed, or you have kids that you have to take care of, and these things, it's hard to think. I got behind on a lot of my bills because you can't even function enough to pay your bills, or remember that you have to pay a bill. Or it was really hard just to feed my cats and clean out a litter box. I really just wanted to lay there and die. And I wanted to go with him. I didn't want him to go without me. I wanted to go with him. Mostly I just cried all the time, or either just sat staring into space. A lot of times that's just what you do. You're just sitting, or you're standing somewhere, and you're just like this. Just staring off into space, saying nothing. Because you're just so stunned, and you're so shocked, and you're like, what on earth do I do now? I'm lost. I mean, they were your whole life. And you feel like, what do I do now? And even just changing your clothes, or going to the grocery store or whatever you have to do, you feel like you can't do it. I just sat in a chair for the longest time, just staring out into the trees. I would sit outside and I just say, why, God? Why? Why would you do this? Why would you take him from me like this? Why would you take him and leave me? He was the best friend I ever had. Why would you take that away from me? He had a hard life, and he overcame all of these things just to die. Maybe you've thought some of the same things. You're confused and you don't understand and you're angry and you're just, maybe you're just like, why? Why is this happening to me? And then you look at all the people around you that still have their spouse and they still have their family and they're still happy. And you wonder, why did you get cheated? What did you do wrong? Why does my neighbor get to have his spouse for 60 years and I only got to have mine for 3? And you go through all of these questions and your mind is just going over and over. And then you can't sleep at night. And then you can't eat. Or if you're like me, you eat too much and then you're sick. And that's just the beginning. And it's a mess. So I'll stop there for now because I've already gone past my time again. But we'll talk more about that tomorrow. For today, I just want you to know I understand. And there's a lot of things you're going to be feeling. And maybe you're not like me. You know, some people, they don't ever question God. And they don't feel angry. They, people feel different ways. And that's okay. But me, I was angry. And I felt robbed. And I felt like I was dead inside. So I want to end with this. Just want to read you a paragraph out of the first book that I read. This is the first book that I got after he died. And I do recommend it, especially if you're angry or you're like mad at God. C.S. Lewis, A Grief Observed. I could relate to this guy. He had a lot of the angry, disappointed, just very raw feelings that I have and had. And it's a process. I didn't lose my faith. I'm not going to lose my faith. Some people do lose their faith. But I have said some very angry things to God, and I am not happy with him, and he knows. And I've told him so. And I don't understand why he does what he does. Sometimes you have to work through that. I guess whatever your beliefs are. If you're a Jesus follower, maybe you're angry at God. If you don't believe in anything, well, I don't know how you feel then, but maybe you're just mad at the universe or something. I don't know. But I just want to end today with the first paragraph out of his book, because he really knows, he gets it. He says, "No one ever told me that grief felt so like fear. I am not afraid, but the sensation is like being afraid." That's true. I felt terrified, and I still do every day. The same fluttering in the stomach, the same restlessness, the yawning. I keep on swallowing. At other times, it feels like being mildly drunk or concussed. There's a sort of invisible blanket between the world and me. That's a good description of it. I find it hard to take in what anyone says, or perhaps hard to want to take it in. It's so uninteresting. Yet I want the others to be about me. I dread the moments when the house is empty. Ugh. Me too, C.S. Lewis. Me too. If only they would talk to one another and not to me. That's just the first paragraph of his book. He just goes over some of the things that you feel, and that was the first book I read, and it was helpful just to have someone that understood, and that's why I'm doing these videos, just so you'll know that someone else out there understands. But I will wrap up for now, because this is already too long. Sorry about that. But you guys hang in there, okay? We're gonna get through this together day by day. Big hugs to you until next time.